Most people never end up taking the first step towards business ownership. And it's generally not because they don't want to, but it can feel like too big of a commitment. I mean, the idea of ownership sounds awesome: freedom, flexibility, fulfillment, the chance to build something of your own. But the reality is, it's a life change. There are real responsibilities and there are real implications. And if you're doing it for the first time, you probably don't feel like you know what you're doing. And so the hesitation can creep in. You wait, you tell yourself, oh, I'm going to do it someday. When things calm down, when I've saved a little bit more money, when it feels like a better time. But the reality is, someday rarely shows up. And the issue isn't usually timing, it's this mistaken belief that you can't start until you're ready to go all in. Now, this is a trap I call the myth of 110% commitment. It's this idea that you have to be prepared to give everything to a business. And it sounds right. It sounds smart. In some ways, it is. But the problem is that the timing is off because commitment does drive success. But you shouldn't fully commit until you've actually figured out what you're committing to. So how do you figure that out? How do you take the first step? Well, a friend and mentor of mine, his name is TA McCann. He has a simple approach I love, and he calls it a side project. And it's how he's built and sold multiple companies. And I want to walk you through how it works because I think it's a brilliantly simple way to take the pressure off of starting a company and instead give yourself some options to go figure out what might be the right fit. So here's how it works. Step one is focus. So for TA, he chooses a focus. It might be an industry, a problem, a customer, a technology, an idea that pulls him in. He actually, at this stage, does not worry whether it's the right fit, whether it's going to be a great business opportunity. The reality is curiosity is enough to start, just something that piques your interest. Step two is commit. And what I mean by commit is not commit to starting a business. It's commit to consistent time weekly. So what does that mean to commit to consistent time weekly? Well, TA sets aside 5 hours a week for a side project. Now, you may be able to carve out 2, you may be able to carve out 10. It's not really the amount of time that you invest, it's the consistency. It's your willingness to protect it on your calendar. In fact, I like this when it comes to just thinking about fitness overall, is this idea that the best workout program is the workout program that you can stick with. Same idea here. Step 3 is to explore. So for TA, when he looks at that 5 hours, he'll spend the first hour reviewing what he's learned and planning what he's going to explore with the rest of his week, the rest of those 4 hours. Now for him, those 4 hours might be research, might be interviews, might be building a prototype to test. The key though is that he's not optimizing for a business yet. He's not optimizing for setting up a company. He's optimizing for learning. As he's going about exploring, he's looking for opportunities, maybe an underserved customer, a promising problem, maybe an emerging technology that he thinks might be able to be applied to a different industry. And then the last step here is step 4. It is reflect. So every 30 days, TA takes a step back and he asks himself, am I still having fun? Am I excited to keep learning? Is there something else that I would rather explore? Sometimes he pivots, sometimes he stops, other times he doubles down. And some of those projects have actually turned into real businesses. Now, TA almost always does this with another person. So he likes to find someone he thinks has complementary skills, might be fun to work with. And what they do is they meet for coffee once a week. So for an hour, they sit down, they have a cup of coffee, they share what they've learned, they plan what they're going to do for the rest of the week with their time, and then they go their separate ways and do their research, their exploration, and then the next week they come back and have coffee and do it all over again. And at the end of 30 days, TA decides, is he still having fun? Is he enjoying working with this person? Does he feel like he's getting value? Does he feel like they're adding value? If not, he moves on. But multiple times, those side project coffees with people have turned into long-term business partnerships. And I think this is a brilliant way to test finding someone that could be a partner. In fact, a lot of businesses end up being more successful when they have 2 partners that come in to start a business that have complementary skills. This is a fantastic way to find it. I think the key to TA's side project process is just it takes the pressure off. Because you're optimizing for learning and not for outcomes, you can keep all of your options open until you find the thing that's exciting and aligned and viable. And I think this is critical. The idea of optimizing for learning so that you can learn your way forward to the right idea. Too often, we can lock into the first idea that we think might check a few of the boxes. And often that's not the best fit. It's not the thing that's going to have the highest odds of getting us to the life that we want. And a side project can be a way to expose that. Now with TA, in one case, he and his side partner on a project locked into an idea they loved. And one of the things they did that was really smart is they decided they didn't want to jump to making this a business yet, even though they were both super excited about it. They saw an opportunity that they thought they could take advantage of. What they decided to do was say, hey, we're going to keep this as a side project. And if we can find 5 companies that are willing to pay us $200 a month for this product, then we'll know it's time to get serious about a business. At that point, we'll look at filing an entity and looking at what we might do for fundraising and what other people we might need to bring into the fold. Well, for TA, this particular idea, they were able to prove that. It ended up becoming a company. But many of the projects he's experimented with have never turned into businesses or have evolved into completely different things than where he started. And for TA, that's fine as far as he's concerned. In fact, the thing he told me is that side projects for him add value even if they never lead to anything, because he always learns something every time about new industries, about technologies, even about himself. And all those things have ended up creating value for him later on as he's explored other opportunities and other businesses. And that's why TA's been doing side projects for more than 2 decades. Once it stops being fun, he just moves on. No harm done, no wasted years locked in some commitment that he wasn't ready to make. And I love this idea. I think it's a brilliant way to build conviction, not by overthinking, but by investing some consistent time to learn your way into what fits. So if you're ready to take the first step, my suggestion, stop waiting for certainty. You can borrow TA's approach. Pick a focus, commit some consistent time, explore for 30 days, and then just take a step back and ask yourself, am I excited to keep going? Is this helping me get clarity on what's for me? Either way, you're going to be further along than you are today. And who knows, maybe the first 30 days might be the thing that ends up changing your life. Now, if you found this video helpful, please like it or share it with someone you think might benefit from it. I wish you the best of luck as you explore your path to your dreams. Don't quit your daydream. Cheers. See you next time.